Well, I think what they've done is one of the most courageous and fearless things I've seen. I think I think to walk away from all of that, the public grief that we know about, but to all of that family pain. Well, we should think of the Queen as a great-grandmother, and we should think of Prince Charles as a dad. I mean, they will all be suffering from this hugely. And Harry has chosen to walk away from all of that to protect his wife and his children. And I think that you've got the analysis of the media totally right, that the angriest media is from the angriest people, or the people feeding Mr. and Mrs. Angry. But I think all of us need to look at ourselves and think of this as a family that's been blowing itself apart, probably no more seriously than many families are going through or have gone through and haven't been able to walk away. But we're thinking of these, if we think of them as human beings, as sons and daughters and sisters-in-laws and mother-in-laws and great-grandmothers and great-grandfathers, our hearts should be bleeding for these two.
I mean, you're not in any way suggesting they should be bleeding more for these two than for people, stuck in a dinghy in the middle of the English Channel or living in Syria at the time, or even people using food banks. But it's not either or, is it? This is one of the great mysteries of our era.
It's not either or. And we are showing ourselves more and more to be a nation with less and less compassion less and less tolerance of different people, different choices. I mean, that was what was going on in the family. I mean, without knowing any of the detail or any of the personalities involved, it was differences of opinion, it's differences of definition of duty, it's differences of definition of loyalty. And for Meghan, what she was being asked to become was completely impossible for her to be who she really was.
It was "Can you protect us" as well that resonated with me, or we just wanted some help. We wanted some protection.
Can you help me? No.
Because what we're being exposed to is different from what everybody else has been exposed to. So the fact that we're getting less help and support is the argument they made. It actually makes sense of everything. But if you don't understand, then you are much more easily manipulated into a kind of unfocused anger, aren't you, or into indignation?
And we see this with every rabbit hole and conspiracy theory going. The anti-vaxxers, the anti-maskers, the Bill Gates theorists. I mean, the sensible, intelligent people get hooked up in this because they're only exposed to their own bubble and they're terrified of being wrong.
I guess we are all terrified of being wrong at some stage in our life, but what I saw...
Well, some of us less than others.
Well, no, some of us have written a book about it, Adrian, but no one likes a self-publicist.
And I've read them both. I think that this ability to be vulnerable and wrong and human is what they've shown us in that interview. I believed every word of it, and I don't believe they were mincing their words. They did announce at the beginning of the interview that they weren't being paid for it.
They want to get their version of events on the record. And
they want to get their version of events on the record to appeal to the reasonable, sensible, rational, nuanced thinkers in society, which are fewer and fewer and fewer.
Welcome to Meghan and Harry Tales, the channel where we uncover the truth behind the headlines, explore the latest updates on the Sussexes, and separate fact from fiction. Join us as we demystify the stories, challenge misconceptions, and celebrate the journey of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. When did we become so quick to judge? In a world where information travels at the speed of light, our reactions have become just as swift. We see a headline, a snippet of a story, and we form an opinion in an instant. But what are we losing in this rush to judgment? When did we forget what it means to feel another's pain? Empathy seems to be a fading virtue. We used to be a society that valued understanding and compassion. Now it feels like those qualities are slipping through our fingers. We need to remember the importance of standing in someone else's shoes. We see headlines, we hear whispers, and we rush to judgment. Where is the compassion? The media bombards us with sensational stories, and we consume them without a second thought. But behind every story, there are real people with real feelings. We need to ask ourselves, where has our empathy gone? The empathy that makes us human? It's the very essence of our humanity. Empathy is what connects us, what makes us care for one another. Without it, we are just individuals living in isolation. We need to rekindle that sense of connection, that ability to feel for others. Harry and Meghan's story is a stark reminder of this crisis. They are not just celebrities, they are human beings who have been subjected to intense scrutiny and judgment. Their experiences highlight the broader issue of how we treat those in the public eye. A couple, vilified and ridiculed, stripped bare under the harsh glare of the public eye. The relentless pursuit by the media has turned their lives into a spectacle. But have we ever stopped to think about the toll this takes on their mental and emotional well-being? We dissect their every move, analyze their every word. Every gesture, every expression is scrutinized. But in our quest for the latest gossip, we forget that they are people too. People who feel pain, who have fears and insecurities just like the rest of us. Do we ever stop to consider the human cost? The emotional and psychological impact of our judgments? It's easy to get caught up in the drama, but we need to take a step back and think about the consequences of our actions. The pain behind the forced smiles, the facade they put on for the cameras. It's a defense mechanism, a way to cope with the constant scrutiny. But behind those smiles there is real pain, real suffering, the tears shed behind closed doors. It's easy to forget. They are real people, with real emotions, just like you and me. We need to remind ourselves of this simple truth. We need to bring back the compassion that seems to be missing in our society, just like you and me. We all have our struggles, our moments of pain and joy. Let's strive to be more understanding, more empathetic. Let's create a world where compassion is the norm, not the exception. Because in the end, we are all in this together. Harry's choice was clear: protect his family. In a world where duty and tradition often overshadow personal desires, Harry made a bold decision. He chose to prioritize the well-being and happiness of his loved ones over the expectations placed upon him by his royal heritage. His wife, his children, they were his world, his everything. The bond they shared was unbreakable, and he knew that their safety and happiness were paramount. Every smile, every laugh, every moment spent together was a testament to the love that bound them. He chose love over legacy, courage over conformity. In a society that often values tradition over personal happiness, Harry's decision was revolutionary. It was a statement that love and family come first, no matter the cost. A decision born of love, and fueled by a father's fierce instinct to protect his own. The instinct to shield his family from the relentless scrutiny and pressures of royal life was stronger than any obligation to duty. Imagine the weight of that decision. The sleepless nights, the endless discussions, the internal conflict. To turn his back on a life of privilege and tradition was no easy feat. It required immense strength and conviction to walk away from everything he knew, the palaces, the ceremonies, the titles. It was a step into the unknown, a leap of faith driven by love and the desire for a better life for his family. To face the scorn of an institution he was born into, the criticism, the judgment, the whispers behind closed doors. It was a heavy burden to bear, but one he carried with grace and determination, all for the love of his family. Every decision, every sacrifice was made with them in mind, their happiness, their safety, their future. Can we fault him for that? For choosing love over duty, for prioritizing his family's well-being over the expectations of an institution? Or should we applaud his bravery, his willingness to stand up for what he believed in, to protect those he loved, even in the face of adversity? His unwavering commitment to his wife and children. It is a testament to the strength of his character and the depth of his love. Harry's choice was an act of defiance, a rejection of the status quo, a challenge to the norms that dictated his life. A powerful declaration of love, a love that transcends titles, traditions, and expectations, a love that is pure, unwavering, and true. Meghan, a woman of strength and grace, thrust into a world determined to break her. She entered the royal family with hopes and dreams, only to find herself ensnared in a web of tradition and scrutiny, a world of archaic rules and suffocating expectations. The royal protocols, so deeply entrenched, left little room for individuality or change. She never stood a chance. The attacks were relentless. The media, ever hungry for scandal, pounced on every opportunity to vilify her. Her every word, every action scrutinized and twisted. The tabloids painted her as an outsider, a disruptor, someone who didn't belong. Her identity, her heritage, used as weapons against her. The very essence of who she was became a target for criticism and prejudice. The pressure, immense and unforgiving, the weight of the crown, combined with the relentless media scrutiny, took a toll on her mental and emotional well-being. Can we not see the toll it took? The pain etched on her face, the sadness in her eyes. The constant barrage of negativity and judgment wore her down. Meghan's story is a stark reminder of the impossible standards we place on women, especially women of colour. Her journey highlights the resilience required to navigate such a hostile environment and the strength it takes to stand tall amidst adversity. Let us reflect on the pressures we impose and strive for a world where every individual is valued for who they truly are. Section 4. The empathy gap, a universal need, denied. Empathy should not be a luxury. It's a basic human need. We all crave understanding. We all yearn to be seen and heard. Why is it so hard to extend that same grace to others? Harry and Meghan, stripped of their titles, stripped of their dignity, judged and condemned for daring to seek a life of their own choosing. When did we lose sight of their humanity? They are not characters in a fairy tale. They are human beings deserving of our compassion. Section 5. Adrian's plea, a voice for the voiceless. Adrian's call to James O'Brien struck a chord. A raw, emotional plea for understanding, a desperate cry for compassion in a world seemingly devoid of it. His words resonated with millions, because they spoke a universal truth. We are all capable of pain. We all deserve kindness. Adrian's call was a reminder that behind the headlines, behind the palace walls, are real people. People with hearts that break, with dreams that shatter. People who deserve our empathy, not our scorn. Section 6. Celebrating courage, demanding change. Let us celebrate Harry and Meghan's courage, their unwavering commitment to each other, their refusal to be silenced. They dared to challenge the status quo, to fight for their right to happiness. Their story is a call to action, a demand for a kinder, more compassionate world, a world where empathy triumphs over judgment, where understanding replaces condemnation. We can do better. We must do better. Section 7. A world with more empathy. Imagine a world where we lead with empathy, where we seek to understand before we judge, where we offer support instead of criticism. A world where Harry and Meghan's story serves as a catalyst for change, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, love and compassion can prevail. Let us build that world. Together. Until next time, stay kind, stay thoughtful, and let's keep sharing these important stories. Thank you everyone for watching the video, and let's show some love by subscribing and sharing the video. Remember to leave a comment. Thank you. I am your loyal host, Kelly.